Hey everyone, welcome to another Marksmanship Masterclass, where you can get the information knowledge you need to take your shooting experience and your firearms to the red zone. I'm Advanced Weapons Instructor Dave Watson, and the topic of today's Masterclass is trigger mechanisms. In its most basic sense, a trigger mechanism is a lever to release the firing mechanism of the firing pin and spring to commence the chemical process of firing a cartridge. In reality, a trigger mechanism is a complex set of levers, springs and bearing surfaces that release the firing mechanism at the same time, weight of pull, without creep or take up, and in exactly the same way each time. Looking at weights, most hunting rifles' trigger weight, or the force required to release the firing mechanism, sits in the 4 to 5 pound range. Precision rifles tend to be in the 1.5 to 4 pound range. Target rifle trigger weights can be as little as 8 ounces. As a rule of thumb, anything under 1 pound can be dangerous in a hunting styled situation. Creep is the stop-start movement that a trigger with a worn bearing surface will go through before releasing the firing mechanism. Creep is highly detrimental to accuracy. It's not only distracting, but can also cause jerking movements to be transmitted to the rifle and therefore the point of aim. Let-off in trigger mechanisms refers to trigger movement that occurs after the trigger has released the firing mechanism, and it should be as little as possible for the exact same reasons as creep. Likewise, take-up refers to the movement of the trigger before the firing mechanism is released, and again, less is best. When considering a brand new trigger mechanism, it's very important to give it a thorough clean to remove the manufacturer's storage grease. Trigger mechanisms should never be lubricated with a liquid at all. Liquids attract dust and dirt and grime that mix to form an abrasive paste and can increase wear and tear on the trigger. The trigger can be lubricated with a dry lubricant like Teflon spray or graphite powder, which is then blown out with compressed air to remove excess. Commercial triggers are fantastic compared to days of old and tend to come in sealed units. Typically they're adjustable for at least weight and sometimes take up and let off, allowing the shooter to customize the trigger mech to their own needs, as well as sear engagement length or the area of bearing surface that the trigger rests on. Generally though, it's difficult to adjust commercial triggers below 4 pounds without modification and of course voiding of the warranty in most cases. These triggers can be modified, however, by polishing of the bearing surfaces to achieve a smoother transition, and springs can be changed out to achieve lighter weights. Once this work is completed, it's very important to Loctite those adjustment screws to ensure that no settings change once the mechanism is exposed to firing pressures. Custom triggers take this to the next level by having finer tolerances on the surfaces and angles within the trigger mechanism, and finer adjustments are available to the shooter. It should be noted that a perfectly adjusted commercial trigger will shoot just as well as a fully adjusted custom trigger, although it can take a lot of work to get to that perfect point with a commercial trigger. So if you want more information on triggers or any other topic discussed in these videos, be sure to click on the link below to my books on Amazon, available in both digital and hard copy formats. If you appreciated the information in this video, you can show that appreciation right now by clicking on the PayPal button below and donating any amount you feel is equal to the information in this video. Don't forget to click on subscribe below and stay tuned for more videos from Marksmanship Masterclass.